Hello sunshines, welcome to BunniPhish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as BunniPhish on Instagram, YouTube, and Patreon. And today we are here for a very special episode. So I am so excited to be taking part in this yarny YouTube hop. However, all of those words go together. And I am starting this first week of March, nothing like last minute. I thrive under pressure. I am starting my project for the hop. So what I plan to do is I am going to make a basket. And last year, Priscilla of Distinctive Crochet introduced the idea of make scrap yarn. So the idea is to take your old yarns, your leftovers, things like that, and make new yarn out of those yarns. Not just hold the strands together, but make new yarns out of it. So that is what I have started in the few seconds since I started chatting with you. My plan is to make a basket that I'm going to be using the Float Tote by Love and Stitches as like my idea for what to make. I don't know if I'll follow the instructions exactly. I don't plan on making the interior inserts or anything, but we will see. So that pattern calls for 2 strands of worsted weight held together, and I don't want to do that. I would rather make a very, very long chain and then crochet that singly. I just think that would make a really cool looking basket. So that is what I'm going to do. And I plan, we'll see how it goes. I plan to use a palette that starts white and then kind of goes green, pink, blue. I don't know how much scrap yarn I'm going to need to make the basket. So as I am working up the chain, once I get a significant amount of it, I am then going to also start working the basket. Because why not, right? Like, it seems like a great idea to me. So hopefully it works out. You'll know at the same time that I do via the power of recording. So yeah, I'm going to hang out with my friend Aquila of the Lefty Knitter podcast for a while, and I have 6 other podcast episodes queued up. I don't have anything to do this evening, so I'm gonna make some scrap yarn. Hello sunshines, happy Sunday. So yesterday I started this project, the yarn Scrappy hop thing. I don't know, I'm telling you, you can see the title right down there on this video. But I started it yesterday, and I started by making scrap yarn. So I have yarn chained, and it's not, I haven't chained the whole first skein. So for most of it, I'm using scrap yarn, but for the base, I'm going to be using white yarn, and I have white or cream yarn for the base. And I have several just skeins. A few years ago, my dad handed me a box that he picked up from an estate sale that was white acrylic yarn. So I'm going to use that for the base. And so I have been chaining that yarn and wrapping it around the outside of this ball that I started as a center pole so that I could work from the ball as I'm making the yarn. And as long as you don't wind this yarn, like the outside yarn, super tightly, it compresses the inside of the ball just enough so that it doesn't become a mess, and you can still work from it easily. See, it pulls very easily, and this ball probably won't get much bigger than this at any point in time because I'm not crocheting a ton. I'm not chaining a ton at a time because the hook that I'm using to chain is a size F, which is small and hurts my hands a little. And the size hook that I'm using to make the basket is a size J, which is recommended in the float tote pattern, but for holding 2 strands together. And when you make a chain, that's like holding 3 strands together. So it's at a denser gauge, which is what I want. I want this basket to be able to stand up on its own. And I really like the look of that chain in the fabric. I think it's really cool. It's really sturdy. It gives the fabric some interest. So I'm really enjoying that. My plan is to work on this a lot today. So I do something that I refer to as rotation, especially on Sunday, which is my day off. I work the other 6 days of the week between yarn shop and a school. So on Sundays, I usually work on project A, B, C, D, and then do some cleaning. So today I'm just doing kind of like an ABC rotation. And I know this isn't yarny hop related kind of, but you're on my channel and I'll show you what I want to. So I am doing 1 square's worth of border for rotation A, and then I'm pulling off a whole bunch from the outside of this skein, usually between 10 and 15 like unwraps, like lengths of arm, chaining that, and then doing a round on. Can you hear my children outside acting foolish? So I have 2 kids. Some of you, this will be the first time you have ever met me, and I probably should have done an intro at the beginning, but that's not how my brain works. So I'll do a little intro now. My name is Heather, and I have 2 kids. They are 11 and 13, and I also have my niece and nephew living with me with my sister. So my house is usually very full. I don't tend to record here because it's usually very loud, but my children have to go clean out my car because they made the mess and I'm not cleaning it up. And I thought that would make things quiet because my niece and nephew are still sleeping. But no, my kids think that they can go out there and be yelling at 9 o'clock in the morning on a weekend day. Like, people are sleeping. So yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I love my kids. They're very, very great. They occasionally show up in vlogs and stuff. So they're pretty cool. On my episode 9, I think it was, I actually have a really cool drawing that my oldest was working on. So yeah, that's my vlog. Are they serious right now? I literally just went outside and told them that they can't be fighting and there would be consequences, and it sounds like they're fighting. If I have to get up again, it's on. So, they're 11 and 13. I expect them to have squabbles, as siblings do. But they can't be rude about it. Is that ridiculous? It's totally ridiculous. So, what else about this project? I was talking about the hooks. Did I say that the hooks kind of hurt my hands after a while, which is why I need to take a break from them? That's why, especially this, because the yarn is triple thick. I'm sorry if I'm repeating. I can't remember. It gives me hand fatigue like real quick. So one round is about as good as it's going to get, and I don't even know if I'm going to be able to do a full round later on once it gets bigger. And this chaining doesn't really hurt my hands. I just find it super tedious and boring, but I want the finished object to be what it is. So yeah, I think that's all I have to check in with you about right now. I just really wanted to tell you the trick. Oh, this. Okay, so why I wanted to tell you about this, about having this center pole ball that you're also, does anyone else always have their hair always like in their yarn? If you're wondering if it's always choppy like this, yes, it is. Especially if I'm at home, but also I have severe ADHD, and that's kind of like having 10 TVs in front of you at all times with volume at varying levels versus like most neurotypical people have like one, maybe two TVs in front of them. So I jump from thought to thought frequently. I wanted to tell you about that because something that I use that for is when I'm making a scrappy blanket and using a magic knot ball of like the ends of things. So I have a scrappy blanket, which I affectionately say is where yarn goes to die. So like things that I don't want for my other scrappy blankets, or just like the short tails of yarn that have been worked into other blankets, I will be working from a ball of yarn. And if I know I'm going to be accumulating a lot of those tails at once, then I wind a center pole butterfly sort of thing, and then just continually attach the small tails to the outside of the ball of yarn as I'm working it. That way I don't have a bunch of magic knot balls running around, and it's kind of like an infinity ball until I get into a mood and I'm just like, must crochet on this all and use up the entire magic knot ball. But that works for me, and maybe it'll work for some of you, and then you don't have to commit to making an entire magic knot ball before you start working from a magic knot ball. I really enjoy the technique, so maybe you'll use it too. Let me know if you use magic knot balls for scrappy blankets. Tell me about it in the comments, and if you don't, why don't you? And I encourage you to try the center pole idea to have like an infinity magic knot ball. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, friends. Hey friends, I figured I would check in and show you that the cool thing about the infinity ball is that as you use it up and you keep winding on it, it doesn't really get much bigger. And I'm pretty sure I said that earlier, but I wanted to show you an actual fact. I've done a lot of work since the last time you saw this, even though it's not like super huge, but this ball of yarn is not getting much bigger. And that's because you just squish the yarn a teeny tiny bit as you wrap around the new outer layer. friends, welcome back, and ta-da! So for this yarny YouTube hop, I have made the float tote, which is a pattern by Knitty Natty. I think the design name is Love in Stitches, and oh my gosh, so I went way off pattern on this. Not way off pattern, I went pretty much on pattern. So there is a 5 skein version, which the idea is you can have 5 different colors of yarn in your bag. Well, I also went off, so I used the 5 skein version. Let's start there. But I went off pattern because I made my own yarn for it. Instead of holding 2 worsted weight strands together, I chained worsted weight yarn into a chain and then crocheted. So this is how big the base is. This is not how big the base is in the pattern. This is where I was last time I checked in with you for real. So mine is huge, which is great because I've been working on blanket projects, and I think that this is a great size for blankets, especially if you're not just doing fingering weight blankets, which is what most of mine are right now. So I used a size F to chain the yarn. I used a size K to crochet the basket, and I used up so many scraps. I used 2 full balls of white and just a little bit right on the end. I used it for the border for the crab stitch. And then this green was pretty much a full skein. The pink was 2 different partial skeins. The blue was a partial skein. And then these little blue scraps were just tiny partial skeins. So a great scrap buster. And the other things that I did not on pattern was the handles. You're supposed to chain into the chains. I didn't. I just not chain into the chains. You're supposed to single crochet into the chains. I just single crocheted around them because on this side there's blue underneath there, and I wanted to minimize the look of the blue because I ran out of the blue right here, right after the chain, and I could have just pulled it out and done it in white instead, but I really wanted to use up a bunch of scraps making this basket, and I think it's so cute. I think it's super, super cute. And I'm hoping that one of you will also think it's cute, because this for me was definitely a product that I wanted to make. I wanted to make the basket. I've had the float tote pattern for a while, and I thought this would be a cool idea. However, I know that I'm not going to use it, which is why I've had the pattern for so long, and I just haven't made it. So I will be giving this away to one of you. Are you excited? I'm excited. So, giveaway rules and things. This is not sponsored by YouTube or any of its affiliates in any way. I made the product. I am giving it away. I am not willing to ship it internationally. I'm sorry. But there will be another giveaway in just a second. So US only, you have to be 18 or older to enter if you want this giant, oh, did I tell you these colors scream spring? Those are the right words, right?
Yeah.
Okay. In my head, that sounded ridiculous.
Sorry.
That's what. You're okay. That's my little nugget over there helping me out, because sometimes words don't make sense in my head. But yeah, it's like the snow, and then grass peeking through the snow, and then flowers peeking up shortly thereafter, and blue skies instead of gray. It just, all of these colors to me were very spring-like. So if you want the basket, somewhere in a comment below, put the word basket. And I will draw a winner for this on April 3rd. I will draw a winner from the comments. So again, if you want this basket, type in basket in the comments below somewhere. However, because I have some really lovely international viewers, I would also like to give a copy of the float tote pattern, which does not make a tote this big. The float totes are much smaller when you work them to pattern, but that's not what I wanted to make. So the float tote pattern has a 3 skein size and a 5 skein size in the pattern itself, so that's really cool. So if you would be interested in winning that, you can enter float tote, and that is open internationally as well as domestically. So yeah, I had so much fun with making this project, and now I'm gonna go watch people on the other podcasts, YouTube channels that are participating in this yarn hop. So their channels will be linked down below, and if I can figure out their time zones and stuff, I will put that down below too, so that you can be clicking through and finding them. And eventually, when I can figure it out, at the end of the video there will be a little like screen ending that will give you the playlist of everybody's Yarny YouTube hop. So thank you so much for joining me this time. I already have an idea for my summer project, and I'm not going to leave it till last minute this time. I am going to get started on that. I'm gonna say right away, like planning wise, but I don't know when I'm actually going to start working on it. We shall see. All right, friends, until next time, bye.